Formula 1 returns to Japan for the championship deciding round of the 2020 season. There's only 1 point separating the contenders of Lewis Hamilton leading the championship for Toyota and Josh Chiro chasing in the Alfa Romeo. Both drivers of course have practice and experience at winning championships, both one-time champions in their career, looking to double that today. Alfa Romeo were first out of the blocks, putting as many laps as they could and focusing more towards race pace. They know here that Toyota's home race, where they'll be under immense pressure to do the double after wrapping up the Constructors' Championship early in the season, they focus more on race pace. And Sebastian Vettel was also putting in a number amount of laps, as the German coming into this race weekend announcing his retirement from Formula 1, and the German will leave Ferrari and the sport following the end of this Grand Prix. He'll look to go on high and secure 7th place in the championship for Ferrari. And Toyota, they went the opposite way and focus more for a low-drag setup, more focusing on a straight-line pace, as the high-speed natures of this track they found tended to suit the Toyota car. They were looking to lock out the front row and take 1-2 in front of the home crowd. Josh Chiro was pushing too hard in practice too, run out wide through the end of the centre S's. On Beach's car, the Alfa Romeo in the gravel, bringing a swift end to his second practice, but managed to get back up on track for practice 3 and for qualifying. Fernando Alonso was making waves throughout the F1 paddock once again, as the Spaniard buys out the entire sponsorship space on both of the Aston Martin cars, sparking much debate whether the driver will be returned next year as a team owner or in a race seat. Aston Martin may have the best looking cars on the grid for this race, but they didn't quite have the pace in qualifying, with both cars locking out the back row of the grid, with Perez in 20th and Stroll in 19th. And it didn't get much better for either with the works Mercedes, with Daniel Kvyat in P18 and George Russell just getting the better of the more experienced Russian in 17th. Sebastian Vettel had a disappointing final qualifying, getting knocked out in Q1, starting from 16th place, just behind Ria Haryanto in the McLaren, who starts from P15. Charles Leclerc and the other Ferrari didn't go much further, and he's starting from P14, with the second of the two AlphaTauris of Pierre Gasly starting in 13th. Lando Norris starts from inside the points places, crucial for the McLaren's fight with Ferrari starting from P12, with Sergio Hülkenberg just missing out on Q3 starting from P11. Leading all Williams row 5 of the grid, with Nicholas Latifi getting through into Q3, along with outgoing world champion Mick Schumacher. Continuing the nose arc theme, it's the two Renaults, Nico Hülkenberg starting from 8th place, still under pressure if he wants to keep his place, especially with Alonso lurking. The potential turn to Renault, with Esteban Ocon in 7th. And then come both of the Toyota Hasses for their home race, with Lewis Hamilton starting from P6, and home favourite Matsushita starting from 5th. Breaking the trend of the Red Bull Alfa Romeos, with Alex Albon starting from P4 in the Red Bull, and Josh Chiro starting for 3rd, and crucially getting a point as well to start on even points now, with Hamilton and this left the front row to be locked out by Kevin Magnussen and Max Verstappen taking the final pole of the season. Hey guys, Renault here, welcome back to Formula 1. We're here for the final round of the season. The Japanese Grand Prix, Japan of course hosting the final race for the first time since I think 2004. It's been a while since we've been here for the final time, we've got it back now. Of course it's Toyota's home race, but it's also the home race for Honda, with power AlphaTauri, Williams and Red Bull. And they're having 4 of the 6 cars inside the top 10. They definitely wanted to make a statement. And Lewis Hamilton starting from P6. We're crucially ahead of him because we got that point for P3 because we get points to qualifying for the top 3. So now we're on even points now with Lewis Hamilton. So whichever of us finishes ahead of the other wins the championship. And we come to the final 5 red lights for the season. Lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. Some brilliant start there for Max Verstappen. It is away from pole position. That Honda engine coming on well. We got K-Mag there slotting into P2. We got one of the Toyota there with a lightning start. We get a good 3 wide into tail 1. Going to force out one of the Renaults there outside. We got Albon. We got the Renault there on the inside line. He can walk back fighting for his seat, possibly at Renault because he hasn't got a confirmed seat there. But then Ocon being the confirmed driver so far at Renault 4 next year. But we do crucially there. We keep ourselves ahead of one of the Toyotas. Not quite sure which one it is from this camera angle. I think it might actually be Lewis Hamilton. So this, as if the race finished right now, that's still good for us. And we've got the 2 Williams side by side now. With Shimi going side by side then with Nicholas Latifi. Because Latifi is confirmed at Williams for next year. Shimi is expected to move to a different team, but there's still nothing confirmed yet. Then we've got the 2 AlphaTauris side by side there behind. We've got 4 of the Honda powered cars here. Going at it now, we've got a poor run there for one, and they've got one of the McLarens there. Landon Norris are looking at the inside line of the AlphaTauri, and so to the outside of Pierre Gasly then into the corner, giving it side by side now. But Norris trying to go on the outside line of Pierre Gasly. Gasly, of course, has reinvented himself this year after being dropped by Red Bull. He still hasn't had the best start to the race here. Now keeping it side by side with McLaren. You got Harry Anto made up a few places from the start to get it right behind his teammate. Was McLaren and Ferrari in that fight for 7th place in the constructors. And that millions of pounds difference that he'll make, and for a team like McLaren, who haven't got the budget that Ferrari do, that could make all the difference and make or break even for next year. And still got a side-by-side action now coming up up to 130. Alonso made probably, in my opinion, the best overtake in Formula 1. Because sometimes McLaren's it almost made contact there, so close there. That's definitely not what they need now. One of them's got a poor run. As Norris went from being the aggressor to being the one that gets overtaken then by his teammate, Ria Haryanto now. That is probably the most chaotic fast lap we've probably ever seen. And now looking at the best cars on the grid, let's take a moment to appreciate the absolute beauty of these 2 cars. The 2 Aston Martins, and maybe at the back of the grid, but they look so good, these 2 cars here. But it's Max Verstappen now that leads the way, already convincingly pulling away a big gap then to K-Mag in second after 1 lap. So the Red Bulls really are coming on strong. We still got to see if they can carry this on and carry the momentum through into next year, because Red Bull, it's the typical trend once again. They either start terrible and end good, or start good and end terribly. They can never really maintain a championship battle all season. Now moving a bit further on, I think still on that second lap, we still got a battle here now between the 2 AlphaTauris that are coming inside line. There's contact! One AlphaTauris out of the race, smashed off by the other one. That's took the front wheel off. 3-1 to the fastest corner on the circuit, and that is not the way AlphaTauri wanted to go out with their season. One that they're taken out of the Grand Prix. I think it might have been Pierre Gasly who got taken out there by Sergio Safety Camera. And the teammates, because he's going to get heated now, because he wanted to potentially move up to Red Bull in the future, or advertise themselves to other future teams as well. And Gasly's going to want a second chance at Red Bull. Sergio Safety Camera, the F2 champion of last year, is going to want to come up to Formula 1 now as well. Come up to the big leagues and possibly contend for a championship. Be Brazil's first champion since Senna back in 91 or 92, I think it was. Now on to lap 7 of the Grand Prix. Coming under pressure now then for one of the Renaults there. With the inside line, Gigi, side by side, you got Esteban Ocon now side by side. We've had a history for back at Monaco in 2017 where Ocon refused to get loud and almost put us into the wall at Monaco. But we're keeping it clean now. Ocon definitely seems to have reinvented himself and come back a much more complete and cleaner driver, crucially. He's going to get a good run there, good traction roll from that Renault. Now we're going to have Diaz there, going to try and come back and now use our good Ferrari engine's power. Going to come back up the inside, we've got Hamilton, they're going to make it 3 wide now to tail 1. Goes through Hamilton around the outside line. Ocon in the middle, Russell's on the inside, going to go extreme inside. Hamilton goes off the track. He's going to keep it side by side. He's just about Puck on his inside line there, still off Esteban Ocon. Now the Toyotas are forced to drop back. You've got both of the Williams actually now looking to get involved now as well. And it's like one of the Ferraris there as well, is Charles Leclerc getting in the mix as well. And it just shows how much time we're still leaving. We're on last 7 of the race, and we've still actually got the Ferraris and the Williams here right behind us. That just shows how much we're battling. I don't care where I finish, as long as it's ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I can finish in 19th place. Well, they haven't really been the points, but if Hamilton doesn't get any points either, that's not the point though. So I can finish in 12th place if Hamilton's still behind me. That's all that matters. And we've got the Ferrari there, Sebastian Vettel now, making moves now in his final race in Formula 1, announcing his retirement at the end of the year. It's going to be sad to see him go a 5-time world champion. Looks so good with Ferrari in the early stages. Won his first championship at the first time of asking with Ferrari back in 2015. That hasn't really worked out for the German there ever since. Had a chance in 2017, but then just had the measure in the final race of the year in Brazil that day. And on to lap 9 now. We're behind Esteban Ocon. We're after getting past this, he's now been stuck behind his teammate Nico Hulkenberg. So I don't know if the Renault's got some sort of car issue, but Hulkenberg is definitely leading a bit of a training. You've got ourselves, you've got Hamilton. Then you've got, as you said, we've got the 2 Williams and the Ferrari. So that's where we get a massive test after lap 9 in the race. The tyres are starting to go off now. They have to go extreme defensive now. Trying to cover off from the Toyota there of Lewis Hamilton. Because quite the role reversal. It's usually our car, the Alpha, that's pretty good on its tyres, but it seems now the Renault Hulkenberg looks to be struggling with either tyre wear or some kind of mechanical issue. But it looks like the tyres now could be the ones to put the pressure on. Hamilton now still stuck right behind him. They've got side by side then between the two Renaults now up in front. And it looks like you're going to get a power passer, so I think Hulk may have some mission there, maybe actually team orders as well. Now we've got Hamilton on the inside line. Johnny can move through 130 on the inside line. He makes the move stickers now. That could be championship deciding. That's crucial now for this race. And Lewis Hamilton, as things stand right now, is going to be winning the championship. Now we've got the two Renaults there, the third fastest cars in the grid. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be very satisfied with P3 at the end of the season, given that they only finished 9th last year. And if they kept the points before getting disqualified, they would have been finished 7th still as well. So it's still a much improved car from Renault. And now we've got Hamilton going on this attitude, going the outside line off Nico Bates. Won't be, just doesn't quite manage to make the move. And Hulk there with some pretty good shot on speed still. So I'm pretty sure that was just team orders from Renault to let Ocon through and get away with the road. Because Ocon now is the de facto #1 driver, despite obviously being nowhere near Hulk in the championship, because he's the one with the contract for next year. Hulkenberg still fighting for his seat at Renault. Very good. Try and do the #2 job now, as it would be, to try and let Ocon pull away. And Ocon's pulling a massive guy now, so Hulkenberg really is struggling on his tyres. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe the setup will be went for a bit more of a qualifying setup, so he's going to be wearing out the tyres there a little bit more. You can see we're all over that now. Lewis Hamilton, who overtook him. He's got one of the Ferraris up behind as well, and he's been nowhere all season. Going for a dive on this on Lewis Hamilton. Can you go for a Renault as well? Trying to make a double move into the hairpin, trying to do a Kobayashi overtake. Was it 2010 where he was barging his way past everyone there at the hairpin? With Hamilton though somehow manages to get away with that and still keep his position. Now he's still all over the back though of the German, coming in now into the spoon corners. Hulk goes his fancy to the inside line. Not really an overtaking place, but you never know. If you've got some sort of car issue or tyre wear, then anywhere really can be an overtaking place. And now we're not really going to be like, hey, you can do it in the slow machine, because that Toyota is so quick in a straight line. He's going to try and go defensively. Look at the queue. We've got literally every other car in the race stuck up behind us. Hulkenberg now slowly, as Hamilton gets held up, we're going to the inside line of him once again. Going to make a move. We're back at the inside line. We can force Hamilton out wide. Costing momentum now. We'll put the Ferraris there right behind as well, along with the Williams there. Of Nicholas Steve, look at that along it. The entire second grid of cars. This is literally like 7th place, all the way back to like 18th or 19th in about 3 seconds of cars. We're coming to the pit lane as well, so we made the move now. We're going to react immediately now with this strategy. We've done the job on track. Can Alfa Romeo keep us ahead in the pit lane? Now Hamilton comes in. He's going for a set of the hard tyres now to go to the end of the Grand Prix. Now what sort of pit stop can we get from Alfa Romeo? Are we going to come out ahead of the 2008 World Champion, the championship contender, the championship rival for this Grand Prix? And it looks like we've come out in front of him. We can't quite tell on that camera angle thing we have though. They've got one of the riders there rejoining the track now. And again, we come out ahead. We're on medium tyres though as well, so we've got a different way to the Toyotas. So Hamilton not fancying his tyre, doing what Max Chizzy did last race at Australia, where he falls away in the opening laps of the stint, the second stint, but you're going to come back right towards the end with the harder tyres, because he'll be slower now, but his tyres are going to hold on better towards the end of the race, and it's going to be a mighty force to hold back later on in the race. But we've got one of the Williams cars in between, so must have stopped a lap earlier. Now moving on to the end of that lap, we've got our teammate Kevin Magnussen now, who's almost gone unnoticed really ever since the first couple of laps, with him and Verstappen just pulling away from everyone. See Verstappen there just in front, coming out of the pit lane, so that just shows the lead that the Dutchman's managed to build up. There's going to be a set of medium tyres as well for Kevin Magnussen. The Dane's going to rejoin the track, probably still in a net second place, maybe even third. I don't really know, because like I said, we're not really focused on any of the top cars ever since the second or third lap. And we've got the Ferrari Charles Leclerc. I think he's yes, stops. We've got one of the McLarens there on the inside line. We're going with the DRS to try to mix it. Leclerc goes heavy defensive. Going to try and block him off. Now we've got Sainz. Got the Red Bull, the Alpha Tauri's going at it. Look behind us, one of the Mercedes there. Come quite out from the camera. Going to look like a white car, especially with the cloud cover here we've got as well. We've got the other cars, the other McLaren and Ferrari going at it now on the run down into tail one out the pit lane. These two teams have been absolutely inseparable now all Grand Prix. We've got a few cars going in the pit lane. Got one of the Toyotas there has just managed to come out in front there, crucially, of Sebastian Vettel, I think that was. So that's absolutely crucial there for Lewis Hamilton's Grand Prix. And then moving further on now, looking at Lewis Hamilton. He's actually now got the Ferrari there sticking right behind him, so this Ferrari is coming alive now in the final race. Maybe the found something with the centre of the wires. And now Vettel's going to go on the inside line, and Lewis Hamilton in his final Grand Prix going to try and make a move for the inside line of Hamilton. And there's a bit of contact there. Hamilton's forced off wide. He's got damage to his front wing. Lewis Hamilton now with damage to the front wing of his car. Now it's going to be crucial for the championship. We're ahead of him, and he's going to go through the entire second half of the race with damage to his front wing. Sebastian Vettel in his final race doing us the absolutely biggest favour he could, and has caused damage, of course unintentional, forcing his way on the inside line. He can do it, he's absolutely entitled to do so. But now we've got Max Verstappen leading the Grand Prix, Kevin Magnussen P2, way behind being the boys are looking to consolidate that second place. And you have the other Red Bull of Alex Albon there in P3, so both Honda powered Red Bull cars, two Honda powered cars on the podium. I'm sure that that's going to do a lot for a good PR release. And you've got Matthew Sheeter in P4 going to be trying to chase it down, try and get Toyota on the podium at that home race, because they have quite a bit of success around here. Toyota have on their first go at Formula 1 from 2002 to 09. They scored their final podium here in 2009 with Yana Truly, and on return in 2017 they've got their first podium here again with Kobayashi. Then we've got Sebastian Vettel coming absolutely alive in his final race. The man's reinvigorated now, wanting to go out with a bang, wanting to secure 7th place in the constructors for Ferrari. But he's got one of the Williams there riding behind him there of Mick Schumacher. And then we've got the two McLarens now, behind Sebastian Vettel. But I don't know if the points gap would be with Leclerc down the order would still swing it or not in McLaren's favour. We'll have to see how things play out. Then we've got Hamilton there with damage now. He's behind the McLarens and the Williams, so that damage really is. That's championship over surely for Lewis Hamilton. And look at this queue of cars he's got right behind him. Other cars which we really haven't seen all season. Got the two Mercedes there who have really dropped off. The DAS system really not working for either team, for either of the cars really. And we have the other AlphaTauri then of Pierre Gasly, we saw getting forced out earlier on. And we've got Hulkenberg way down the order, so Hulk definitely has some sort of car issues, dropped this far down the order. And then we've got the best looking car on the grid, the Fernando Alonso DriveX sponsored for one race only, it seems, Aston Martin holding up the other Ferrari. Our Charles Leclerc really hasn't featured at all in this Grand Prix. That Ferrari not been the easiest car to drive this season. Vettel really has had the measure of Leclerc throughout the most of this season. And we have the other Aston Martin then towards the back of the grid. But still, that car looks so good. If only that was the car that we kind of all see that. If this car would look so good in the sunlight as well. If only this race was actually sunny. I just want to take a moment to appreciate how good this car looks. The Alonso colours with the Santander sponsorship there on it as well. Now Lewis Hamilton, his races, he's just going from bad to worse really, because he's going to need us to drop out the race if he has to have any chance of securing the title now. And he's got one of the AlphaTauri that just blasted past in a straight line as well. So Dave's got some sort of car issue now as well. Getting overtaken in a straight line. It's not something you see too much from Toyota though. The Merc engine is still pretty good if the car that it's inside really isn't all that the best still. We've got George Russell making a move there on his fellow Brit, looking to make the most of the TV time, because we haven't seen much of Russell or Kvyat really all season. In the high point of Merck's season is when Kvyat got a podium in the very first race, and it's been downhill really ever since. But Russell there pulling away now with that damage, especially this is not a track. Tracks you can get away with damage. Probably the only really one really is Monza, because it's pretty much just a straight line. Maybe Monaco, because it's so difficult to overtake around there. But on a track like Suzuka, you need all the parts of the front wing that you can get. And you've got the AlphaTauri there, the Honda powered cars. This is not going to be a good press release, because every year we've come in so far, it's always been Toyota that have had the measure of Honda. Well, we've got both Red Bulls on the podium, one of them leading the Grand Prix, so there's going to be a swing back to the other Japanese marquee in this Grand Prix now on lap 50. So we just passed the halfway point now of this race, and we're in P6, and that's exactly where we need to be. Now we've got Sebastian Vettel coming up behind us now in the Ferrari now in his final time. If he catches me up, I'm not going to fight him. I don't need to fight him, I don't need to score points. I just need to be in front of Lewis Hamilton as things stand. Now we've got Vettel though, his final race, the German coming alive now at the final time of asking. We're going to move over to the inside now. We're not going to make it easy for him, but not going to fight him either. And let Vettel go through. He moves up now into 6th place in his final race. And we've got Mick Schumacher behind us then in the Williams as well. Because Williams in the fight for P5 in the constructors with Mercedes. And we saw the Mercs down the order. Williams having a good qualifying, both cars into Q3. And Schumacher with 8th place. Whether we'd be on for a good haul of points here, stands as it was. I don't really know where Latifi is. I think he still might be inside the points. And he also got the McLarens in between them as well. So still all the midfield teams looks like they're going to be getting something from this race at least. And Vettel is already pulling away from us. I'm just taking it easy now, not putting any pressure on the car. We've got 2.5 laps extra saved fuel. And at this point in the race, usually my rule is usually for halfway through the race, as you move over to let Mick Schumacher pass. Because personally, I haven't got a problem helping Williams. I mean, they helped me secure my only championship so far, because we're still not finished this race yet. It's still not over. I scored the championship back with them in 2016. They did everything for me back then, so I don't mind giving them a favour now, because it doesn't affect Alfa Romeo in the standings either. So we're secure now in 2nd place, so I can do whatever I want. And if Shimi wants to try and chase down after Vettel as well, the two Germans are going to be like a passing of the torch. The 5-time champion against also the outgoing world champion. So there's a lot of championship battles and champions battling in this Grand Prix. And now then, looking back down towards the other end of the grid once again, I'm going to say it once again, the best looking cars probably ever seen in Formula 1. The two Aston Martins, and maybe at the back of the grid, but still going to be going at it now. We've got Stroll making move on Sergio Perez, actually good cosmetic getting a bit aggressive. Now, because these two, they may be fighting towards the back with the Kamura sponsorship on the back of the the Aston Martin cars there into the braking zone. You've got Stroll caught up to the back of Sergio Perez. Don't know if Perez has got some sort of damage. I think he may have a little bit damage on the front wing, going to be slowing his progress. Now we've got Stroll though. Now with the DRS once again, trying to move on Sergio Perez now into turn 1, and Perez doesn't really fight him. He knows he's got damage. Knows at this point in the race Stroll is going to be the faster car, and Stroll makes the move stick into turn 1. He makes the stick. Nice move there from the Canadian. They're still maybe be fighting towards the back. Still going to be a nice morale boost. But still, Aston Martin came into this season with a car, with the chassis of a car that was a back marker from the year before. So they're still on like 50 or 60 points. So they've still had a very good season, even despite being in the bottom of the championship. They've still got a lot to be proud of now. As now it's a lap 26 of the Grand Prix. Got one lap of the race left to go, and a sector. Shimi's disappeared. Vettel's disappeared. I couldn't really care less, because I need to keep it now on the track. We're down to 1.2 laps actually, so still I've been pushing it a little bit because I don't want to drop too far back. Now looking up front, this is how far ahead Max Verstappen is. Verstappen is almost a lap ahead. He's coming up to lap Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen, the race leader, is going to lap Lewis Hamilton. He's now dropped down. He's dropped behind the Aston Martin with damage as well. I'm not sure what's happened. So Hamilton must have had some sort of car issue. Now he gets lapped. Lewis Hamilton gets lapped on the final lap of the Grand Prix. A Honda-powered car has just lapped the works Toyota. And if that's not going to be embarrassing for Toyota, I don't really know what is. That's going to be a massively good press release for the Red Bull for Honda. And Verstappen now comes into the final chicane now for the final time. They've got the two Aston Martins and Alpha Tauri up the road. He's not going to care about that because Max Verstappen comes over to the line and Verstappen wins the Japanese Grand Prix. He wins for Red Bull and wins for Honda on their home soil. A dominant victory from the Dutchman, led from lights to flag. But maybe not on the pit stop lap, but you get what I mean. He dominated this Grand Prix from start to finish, led away from the start and never looked back. Came back, he tried to put up a challenge, but he was really nowhere near in the end. Verstappen so dominant in this Grand Prix. And we're only coming through the third sector, and we've got Nico Hülkenberg coming up behind us now in his final race for Renault. Now we've got Shimi right up behind Spassi Vettel. If you look on the minimap coming through Spoon, the Williams, the Blue Dart, coming up right up behind the Ferrari Dart and the Honda engine. I'd like to think he's pretty good as well, because we've seen it. Well, we've just seen it win the race. So the Honda engine is definitely coming on leap and bounds this year as well. We've got Hülkenberg behind us, the Renault, that Renault engine. That car so quick and straight on as well. We're now putting up our best lap in the Grand Prix, so we saved it a little bit because with us not pushing that much, we managed to save tyres towards the end of the race, and we were going to try and go maybe for fastest lap. But Sebastian Vettel in his final Grand Prix just holds off the Williams, and that is a nice way for Vettel to sign off his Formula 1 career.
Thank you very much, guys. Wonderful car, wonderful car. Perfect. Thank you. I would say ding 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 bah.
Yes, you are world champion, mate. You are world champion. Congratulations, I am so happy for you. What a race, well done.
Yes, guys, come on, we're world champion. Thank you for all your hard work this season. We really deserve this. And yeah, drinks are on me tonight. That's exactly what we needed this season, guys. We've seen the potential from last year and even the year before Sauber. We finally built now on the potential of this car and this philosophy. Also, good job came out well. P2 on the podium for the final race of the season. Now let's get drunk.
If we scream no, this is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who will never let go. Just watch us run to where no one knows. We'll never grow.
taking a look at the end results for the final race of the season, and Verstappen takes the win and holds on to the fastest lap as well. We couldn't take it off him at the end. Takes the maximum 21 points available and was 17.5 seconds clear of K-Mag. Verstappen absolutely dominated this Grand Prix, and if Red Bull can build even a half decent car for next year, and if Verstappen can play performances like that, then the Dutchman may well be in the championship fight for next season. And got Alex Albon in P3 as well, the tyre driver running off the podium, the double podium for Honda powered cars, and so of course because Honda have a 20% stake in the Red Bull team as well, so that's going to go down brilliantly for everyone involved in the team. And he holds off Matsushita as well, finishes in P4. Nobby not having the pace at the end, since Toyota were definitely struggling towards the end of the season as well, with component wear, Nobby did the best with what he had, with what he could. And Espano's gone P5, quiet race from the Frenchman, but kept it clean, doing what he needs to do to rebuild his reputation, especially since he's confirmed at Renault for next year. Let's see what the Frenchman can do when he can get fully integrated into a car that he'll be driving all of next season with. And Sebastian Vettel in his final Grand Prix has some really nice words to Ferrari on the radio at the end of the race as well. Finishes in P6. It's a really crucial 7 points there for Ferrari, and just holds off the outgoing world champion in the passing of the torch really between the two of them. Mick Schumacher, who had the same thing from his father Michael to Vettel at the end of the 2012 season, so now I'm sure Vettel can repay the favour to Mick now at the end of the 2020 season. And we finish in P8, over a minute off the win, but that didn't matter. We finished where I needed to get the points that I needed to as well. 5 points, that suits me just fine. And we've got Hulkenberg in the Renault in 9th place. We'll have to wait until next year to see if he's got a seat at the Enstone team, or if Alonso maybe making waves will come back, maybe even just as more as a potential team owner, maybe even as a driver. We've got Lando Norris in P10 for McLaren, good 3 points there for the Brit, with Latifi in 11th, so double points haul for Williams, which is exactly what they need in their fight with Merck for 5th place, with Ria Hayanta rounding off the points for McLaren in 12th. And since it's the final race, we'll have a look at the other half of the grid as well. Sergio set to camera, just missing out on points starting, finishing in P13, ahead though of Charles Leclerc and the second of Ferraris in P14. And the two Mercs didn't really manage to get a whole lot further from where they started, with Kvyat in 15th, beating his teammate in the George Russell finishes in P16. And the last car on the lead lap was Lawrence Stroll, the many 34th, so just about much to say on the lead lap as we saw, with Hamilton and Sergio Perez both one lap down, with Pierre Gasly the only retirement from the Grand Prix. And now moving on to the drivers' points table, and we've never led the championship all season until now, but it's the one time that mattered. Hamilton's led it all the way until today, and we've got it there confirmed now in the points. It's official, we are now a two-time world champion in Formula 1, first in 2016 with Williams BMW, and now in 2020 with our Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo. But Hamilton gave me such a good fight all year that they started so strong, but the Alfa Romeo just came back. The consistency of this car is so good in its tyres as well. It may not have been the fastest car outright, but the drivability of this car was so good. Me and K-Mag managed to claw back the ground, along with Renault and Red Bull gaining ground on Toyota as the season went on. But Hamilton, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. Of course he's going to be disappointed, but he put a one hell of a title fight with me. The two Brits there at the top, with his teammate Matsushita in P3, so still a 2-3 right on the Constructors' title. Toyota, they've still got plenty to be proud of. They've achieved their first title success in Formula 1. And Hulkenberg, despite a poor race today, finishes in P4, did just enough throughout the season with his early consistent results, his run of podiums. And Verstappen coming on well towards the end of the year, only 24 points behind in the end. Good end to the season there for Verstappen. And our teammate K-Mag finishing in P6. 12 points behind Verstappen in the end, but still a good end to the season for both of them actually, for Verstappen and K-Mag. And Alex Albon coming on strong as well towards the end of the year, finishing on 139 points. We have Verne, who left the season early, finishing in P8 inside the top half though, still a good job from the 2017 World Champion. Then Mick Schumacher gets ahead of Danny Kvyat. Those two have been trading places seemingly all season, but Schumi gets the better of him in the end by 4 points on 90 points to 86. And two other drivers have been swapping places all the time as well, Vettel and Latifi. And once again it ends up in the favour of the German in his final race. Gets up into P11 of 68 points, 7 points clear in the end of Nicholas Latifi. Still, Latifi's got nothing to be ashamed of, 61 points in his debut season, and a podium finish to boot as well. He had a really good debut this season there for the Canadian, He beats out both of the McLarens, who finish only 1 point apart in the end, with Haryanto just holding off his teammate Lando Norris on 53 and 50 points. The McLaren breaking the 100-point barrier for the first time, I think, since 2016. So the McLaren finally look to be on their way back up now, and the McLaren has beat out both of the Mercedes. Well, Mercedes of George Russell. The 50 points are just falling short. I think Russell was ahead of Norris for that race, not finishing there at the end. One better result, just about keep ahead though of Sergio Setican with 50 points in the AlphaTauri. Brilliant debut season from the former F2 champion, the new Brazilian hero in Formula 1. He beats out Sergio in the end as well. On his returning season, Sergio Perez, 41 points, Aston Martin, 17th place. Still, with the chassis of the car that they had, 41 points. I think it's actually more than what the team scored as Haas in its final season. So, yeah, progress was definitely made throughout the season with the limited resources and the chassis that they had. And Charles Leclerc also finishes on 41 points once again on better result. Perez is ahead of the team he was always rumoured to drive for but never got there. I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with the moves that he went and ended up with Force India, which then became Haas and then Aston Martin, somewhere along the line there as well. You got Pierre Gasly at 29 points, 19th place, still a good end to the season for the Frenchman, coming on strong towards the end, beating out a fellow countryman Esteban Ocon, 21 points in 4 races. That's still a good point haul as well from the Frenchman. Definitely going to be looking to build on some good consistency for next year in the Renault team, and we're looking to be the number 1 driver since he's the only one confirmed so far. And Lance Stroll bringing up the rear in 21st place, still on 13 points, so every driver scored a good amount of points as well. Of course, you have got the wildcard race to be even aside. Every driver scored points in a non-wildcard race as well, so that just shows the points gap may have been there, but just shows how close the grid was really all season long. And looking at the final results for the constructor standings, and Toyota in the end finished 66 points ahead of Alfa Romeo. Just like I was saying, Alfa really did come on good. The drivability of this car got better as the season went on. I mean, finished in the end only 66 points behind, and we were over 100 and some points behind at one stage, having somewhere around the Chinese Grand Prix. So the end of the season, the reliability from the Ferrari engine as well is the main factor that allowed us to claw back the ground for finish in second place. In ways, remember, our car is just a glorified Sauber in effect. Now we've got the financial backing from Alfa Romeo, the Sauber concept in 2018, being able to bring it to life now and bring it to its full potential to second place in the constructors. And Renault in P3 from 9th last year would have been 7th if they had all the points still, but still a much improved car from Renault as well to finish in 3rd place. Top 3 in the constructors for the first time since 2007, because of course you don't really count the Lotus days because it was under a different name then. And we've got Red Bull, we got onto the air, finishing before, almost catching Renault in the end. So I think if they had another race or two, then Red Bull definitely could have got into the fight for 3rd. But they've definitely got good omens for building towards next year. And Williams finish, they secure that 5th place. They may have had half the points of Red Bull, but that wasn't who they were fighting. They were fighting Mercedes, and they held off the German giants. And Ferrari, with Vettel's points, Vettel's crucial points as it seems, hold off McLaren for 7th place in the constructors on 109 points to McLaren's 105. The McLaren got a double points finish, but Vettel, with his finish, scored more points than Haryanto and Norris combined in that race. And it's AlphaTauri that hold on to P9 in the constructors, 79 points, a really good season as well. So that's some really encouraging pace at times with Sergio Camera as well, taking some very notable finishes along with Gasly, and Sergio Camera even got the fastest lap back at China. So if they can build on that momentum as well, then they could well be a force to contend with back in the midfield. They haven't really been up there since 2016, but they could be back on their way up now. And Aston Martin as well, a good debut season for the team. Like I said, with what they had, 54 points is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. I think they scored 54 points last year. I think they'd have been 9th or 8th in the constructors, so still a very, very good debut season for Aston Martin. And if you've watched this far, there's going to be a little bit of news coming up now. There is going to be another season of this career. The 2021 season will be happening. A little bit more of a sneak peek. I've already got some of the races recorded as well, so watch out for them coming up soon. In a few months, going to take a little bit of a break now before we get into pre-season, because everyone's got to build and design their new cars, sort out all the drivers and that. So another season though will be happening. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Also vote for your driver of the day with the link that'll be in the description, along with a link to the wiki for this championship, which will be updated now finally for this whole season. So if you want to look back how everything played out, and maybe even sneak peek what's coming in the future once drivers get announced as well, because things will be announced on there as long as on my Instagram and Twitter, so definitely could follow me on there so you don't miss out on any future driver announcements. So yeah, thanks for watching anything of this season, the whole season, whatever you've watched in just this race. So thanks for watching, I'll see you all next time.